Hey everyone, welcome back to Boundless Veteran. Um, Today I just kind of want to have a real talk about yoga. I want to hammer out some of the misconceptions about the practice, and if you practice yoga, I'm sure you're aware of the misconceptions that are floating around our Western society. And I'll start by saying that in yoga, how we view the world, our reality, is kind of like taking the middle ground, right? So we approach everything in life with clear thought. And by clear thought, I mean we actively listen and we have a great deal of emotional intelligence. As you practice, these skills increase, right? So you become more emotionally intelligent, and you develop better actively listening skills. And these are really two important things in yoga, because it allows us to understand perspective. If we can't hear one side or the other, then we're basically putting blinders on, right? In yoga, what yoga does is it removes the blinders, so we can truly see what's going on. We can find that compromise in life. We can look at things that may seem hypocritical and say, okay, well, I understand this side and I understand this side, so where's the balance, right? You'll hear that word a lot in yoga, right? Find your balance, right? The yin and the yang. Because it's true. We have to find a balance in life, and yoga, meaning unify or unity. That's the purpose, right? To find that balance, to be able to not only balance our emotional and logical state, right, which we refer to as emotional intelligence, but within our physical body as well, right? So that we always talk about in the physical postures of yoga, to like find that edge, right? Hit that edge right before the pain, and breathe there, right? Because it's going to allow you to go a little bit further and a little bit further without hurting yourself. So that's kind of how I like to look at how we take yoga into our life, right? We practice these skills in our asana practice and in our meditations, and we practice these every day so we can apply them to our real world. So that's kind of like yoga, right? So we do this practice so we can then go out into the world and apply it to our reality. And so when I sit here and I look at the world and I try to talk to people about yoga, some people give me the answer of they're afraid to dive into their own thoughts, right? They're afraid to be alone with their own head, and I can understand that. Having post-traumatic stress and lots of trauma in my life, and things I've done and things I've seen. So a lot of people say that they're afraid to be alone with their thoughts, and I get that, but what people don't know about the practice of yoga is that by doing these practices, right, and we're on the mat, we're breathing to that edge of discomfort, and we're focusing on the breath and moving our body, that when it comes finally time for us to deal with those emotions, like, you're prepared at that point in time to deal with it. So, but when you do this practice and you develop this practice, when the time comes ready, like, your body and your mind, they know, like, when you're prepared for something, that's when it presents itself. I like to use the word, like, the past prepares you for the present, right? So, I look at yoga is hard, right? And I wouldn't be able to have this discipline of practicing this every day if I didn't have the discipline when I was in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps and my entire life led me to this moment of being able to practice yoga. That's how I look at it. And we should all embrace it a little bit more and set aside, like, the spirituality aspect of it. Like, if you don't want to be spiritual, don't be spiritual. If your yoga teacher is talking about your spirit or your energy or your light, and you don't care about that, then don't care about it. Just because someone says something in a practice doesn't mean that it applies to you or that you have to listen to it. What to do? Yoga is about your practice, right? The teacher is there only to give you the tools so that you can find your own path. One way, it isn't better than the other way, and we have to remember that, right? You have to find the path, right? Whatever that is, find the balance in your life. In the practice, it's sometimes remaining a neutral thought is one of the most important things we can do. Is just be completely neutral and not have an opinion, right? Everyone thinks that you always have to have an opinion or a thought about something, but I look at it as like, okay, well, I don't have all the necessary information to determine whether this is right or wrong or indifferent. I'm not there, so I don't know. Right? And it's okay to say you don't know. I don't know why we think it's not okay to say you don't know, but we also, if someone admits they're wrong, they banter them. They go, "Ha! I told you so." Right? Like, why would we do that? That makes that person feel like shit. And then they're never going to want to admit that they're wrong again. Right? Because they get hassled and harassed because they were wrong. Right? And there's always like a constant argument. I'm always right. No, you're not always right. You like to think you're always right, but you're not. But you're too afraid to admit you're wrong because then people harass you about it. So you'd rather say that you're right all the time than admit that you're wrong. And you'd rather, like, hold on to those values so hard that you can't let go a little bit of your pride and your ego to admit when something is wrong. And everyone gets so emotional about it. And what happens when we're emotional? Right? When we're emotional, the logical brain shuts off. We know that. So why aren't we practicing more emotional intelligence? Why is it that when I have a conversation about something, that someone always like says, "Oh, imagine if it was me." Like, you're trying to invoke my emotion here in this conversation. It's not going to change my opinion about the matter. Because I don't let my emotion get into the way of my logical thought. Do I feel? Do I care? Yes. But what's the reality behind it? Don't make me feel a certain way about something that isn't actually happening. Worry, right? It's negative. Stop trying to make me feel a certain way about a topic by putting an imaginative what-if scenario in my mind. Why do that to yourself? It didn't happen. So because it didn't happen and you're just cultivating this in your mind, it's ridiculous. Let it go. Right? let it pass on by. And I get it. Like, this is a lot harder than it is to say it, right? So I've been able to devote a lot of time to the yoga practice, but I was in such a shitty state that I couldn't take care of children. I couldn't have a girlfriend or a wife because I was so messed up here. And when you're that messed up, you just kind of want to pull the trigger. And I was there, right? Like, my story's very public. I don't hide anything about it. So I wasn't able to do those things. So I was able, though, to take the step towards recovery and cultivate a practice that gave me my discipline back. It gave me the control back that I used to have. It allowed me to be me again, the strong me, the kind me, and I was all of those things. But somewhere after leaving the Marine Corps, and I lost all purpose to be strong, I just kind of fell apart, right? There was no reason to be strong. I just wanted to fail. But in yoga, I was able to change my mind to the positive and say, yeah, you do need to be strong. You have an impact, a positive one, on the world if you cultivate it, right? You have to take control of your mind because it helps bring everyone else down, right? If you're sitting and having a conversation with someone and you're calm, then they're more likely to be calm. If you're angry and upset, then they're going to be more likely to become angry and upset as well. And so just remember that next time that you find yourself, looking at yoga in a certain way. Just remember that it does more than just, give you flexibility. So, namaste.